All right, what is going on, guys? It is your boy TKD123 here, back in here on Plays and Source. I know it was a few days late on this HBO teaser trailer breakdown, but I do hope you enjoy it because this took a lot of time and we found over 30 details that you may have missed or things that you may have overlooked as well when you first saw it on the trailer. And if you do end up liking the content, make sure to leave a like on the video as well as stay subscribed to PlayStation Source to keep up with the latest and greatest in all things PlayStation, from games, from movies to TV shows. I do want to bolster and put out more content revolving around these TV shows and movies as well, but make sure to keep it locked here on the channel, and down below in the description you can find links to our Discord, our Twitter, and of course our Anchor link. That way you can listen to our long form content in podcast format. We have the dedicated God of War Ragnarok podcast, Road to Ragnarok, debuting very soon. Next week is probably the day I'm going to drop it. I'm very excited for that, but let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into this Last of Us HBO teaser trailer breakdown. So the trailer starts out with Joel walking in the Boston quarantine zone. It has a very similar red brick type of look to it. It looks really good in live action, really liking the way they were able to recreate this quarantine zone. And on the signs in the next shot, we have curfew hours that are the exact same as the game. They are posted all over the quarantine zone as well, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., along with the symptoms of the CBI infection that are in line with the first symptoms you get upon infection, written by Fedra, who was also featured in the main game as well. If you didn't know, CBI is the cordyceps brain infection that is the main disease and infection that completely breaks down humanity in the world of The Last of Us. And hey, if you want to know more about the government body that is meant to uphold the quarantine zones, aka Fedra, as well as CBI and all other Last of Us lore, make sure you don't miss our Last of Us Iceberg that we did last month. It goes over a ton of facts and theories about anything Last of Us that you would want to know. Highly recommend watching that video after this breakdown. Next up, we get this wide shot of people painting over some Firefly spray painting, with it saying, quote, "for the light," which is derived from the official Firefly slogan, quote, "when you're lost in the darkness, look for the light." So this is ending off that slogan, and this line is finished in the very next scene that we'll get to in just a second here. But on the wide shot of this building, we see that this is at 627 Hanover Street. With some brightness on Photoshop, I was able to find this, and while the real 627 Hanover Street in Boston has nothing particular pertaining to Last of Us or this building in the trailer as far as I'm aware, Craig Mazin, who created the Last of Us HBO series with Neil Druckmann, wrote Hangover 2 and 3, the movies The Hangover 2 and 3. So maybe this is a little nod to that. That's probably my best guess. Next up, we get this great look at Joel's famous watch, which is given to him by his daughter Sarah, that we'll probably get to see in the HBO series. It's a very popular scene that is the intro to the original Last of Us game.
Oh, crud, what time is it?
It's way past your bedtime.
But it's still today.
Honey, please not right now. I do not have the energy for this.
Here,
What's this?
your birthday. You kept complaining about your broken watch. So I figured, you know. You like it?
Honey, this is... It's
What?
nice, but I think it's stuck. It's not...
What? No. Oh, ha ha.
Next up, we get a shot of the wall that is spray painted the rest of the Firefly slogan, which says, "when you're lost in the darkness." Next up, we see Ellie chained up from her legs and then looking out of a broken window. This could be her imprisoned by David from the original game. That's my guess. We also get another hint later on in the trailer that this scene will happen in this HBO series of season 1 of The Last of Us. So this is probably this instance. Right after this, we see a vehicle coming out of a garage of some sort, where it looks like the same bulldozer that we see later on in the trailer, but you know, that's just based off the lights. It could be something else, but I feel like, you know, the lights are kind of reminiscent of that Hunter's bulldozer that we will get to see later on in the trailer. Next, we see a Fedra agent controlling a spotlight with Ellie, Joel, and Tess hiding from it, which is straight from the game, where they sneak away from the Boston quarantine zone right after the Fedra agents catch them leaving the quarantine zone, and they test Ellie, and the tests come up that she is infected, but she's of course immune, which will kick off the whole story, etc., right? But then right after this, we see this beautiful shot of a building leaning on another building in Boston after the military bombed the city to reduce the amount of affected in Boston itself. This is an incredible shot. I've always loved this view of this building just leaning over the other one. Really good shot here. Next, we see this person with long hair staring at monitors. I have a theory about this, and that is that this is Bill due to the hair being similar to his hairstyle later on in the trailer, the masculine like hands, and that this person has a beard seemingly as well. He seems to be looking at security cameras with different angles of a perimeter. A close-up of one monitor shows a group of people that look like guards of some sort in front of a very well-kept building. To me, this kind of indicates that this is before the outbreak, right? So if it is, and if this is the case, this could line up with our first look at Bill in The Last of Us during the HBO Max sizzle reel trailer, where he walks out in front of a well-kept house that looks somewhat similar to the one that we see in the security screen, especially when you take into account the front of the well-kept house that looks somewhat similar to the ones on the security screen given the bushes and all that stuff, right? Those bushes look very, very well kept. They seem to have a similar fashion, right? So the shot of Bill in front of the security monitors, he also has a shotgun next to him as well, which in comparison to the Bill shot that we got from the sizzle reel teaser, Bill also has shotgun ammo across his chest. So let's put this all together, right? So this could be a scene from the 20-year gap where Bill runs some sort of security detail, or maybe this is even before the outbreak, right? Like he runs some sort of security detail for a prominent figure, maybe, given all those guards, and they kind of are like surrounded around something or around someone, right? So could that prominent figure, again, this is my theory, could this prominent figure be Frank, who's already been cast in the HBO series, being played by Mary Bartlett? If you don't know, Frank is the partner that Bill had that we learned in the original game, but they had a pretty deadly falling out for Frank specifically, right? So I am very intrigued by this shot. There's another shot later on that really does kind of bolster my theory that I cannot wait to get to, but hoping that this is Bill and Frank is somehow involved in this whole security camera thing. This next shot is likely to be a continuation of the very first time we saw a shot from the Last of Us HBO show as Joel and Ellie look upon a plane crash. This isn't the last we've seen of a plane either in this trailer, and the other sighting is going to be a lot more interesting, but this could be just them looking over the crash that we saw in that original photo of the Last of Us HBO. And these next few shots are from a section in the original game where Joel, Tess, and Ellie are going through the American Museum, heading towards the Capitol building in Boston. This is also where Tess should get bit if they are keeping the same cadence of, deaths and all that from the original game itself. This is where Tess gets bit and she will die shortly after this part in the game, so maybe they will mimic that here as well. But this is going to be really cool to see in live action. I'm very happy this scene made it into the show. While the Snowbridge shot was from the sizzle reel trailer, there's nothing really there to write home about that's new. The shot of Joel's back to us is reminiscent of the university level in the game, given he's wearing the same jacket and the leaves are in a fall type of color and they're all on the floor, so it should be the fall time, the same time that they were at the university in the main game. So it could be this that we are looking at here in the HBO series. Now this next shot here is pretty interesting as well. We see Ellie crying, seemingly looking at Marlene and a mysterious woman. I have a theory that this could be when Marlene and Ellie realize that she's immune, and Marlene is telling Ellie that she's sending her to meet with Fireflies at the Capitol building to take them to a hospital to see if they can extract a cure from Ellie's immunity. Marlene was supposed to escort her herself, although we see in the game that she can't accompany her and orders Joel to do the job.
You're recruiting kind of young, aren't you?
She's not one of mine.
Oh, shit. What happened?
Don't worry, this is fixable. I got us help. But I can't come with you.
Well, then I'm staying.
Ellie, we won't get another shot at this.
Hey, we're smuggling her?
There's a crew of Fireflies that'll meet you at the Capitol building.
That's not exactly close.
You're capable. You hand her off, come back, the weapons are yours. Double what Robert sold me.
Speaking of which, where are they?
Back in our camp.
We're not smuggling shit until I see them.
You'll follow me. You can verify the weapons. I can get patched up. But she's not crossing to that part of town. I want Joel to watch over her.
Whoa, I don't think that's
Bullshit,
the
I'm not
best
Ellie.
idea.
with him. How do you know them?
I was close with his brother, Tommy. Said if I was ever in a jam, I could rely on him.
Was that before or after he left your little militia group?
He left you, too. He was a good man.
I could just take her to the North Tunnel and wait for me there.
Jesus Christ.
Just cargo, Joel.
Marlene.
No more talking. You'll be fine. Now go with him.
Don't take long. And you, stay close. Let's go.
Now, this mystery woman could be either a brand new character under the Fireflies that we don't know about, or one of the people Marlene had watched over Ellie, as she said that she had people watching over Ellie in the American Dreams comic. By the way, if you want a full recap of those comics, feel free to check out the episodes, a part of the Road to Part 2 podcast on the channel, on the playlist, and you can go check out those. I'll put a link over here in the top card. Next up, we see the beautiful, iconic shot of Riley and Ellie on the carousel scene in The Last of Us Left Behind. We see our first look at Storm Reid as Riley. Cannot wait to see how she does as Riley. She's gonna kill it. She is such a great actress. Cannot wait to see her in the Last of Us HBO series. Next up, we see Joel and Sarah escaping Austin during the Outbreak day. The only thing that caught my eye was that there's this truck on the side that says Frontier Courier, the fastest gun, which could be alluding to Joel's role in the original game, being a courier by way of escorting Ellie across the United States and being the lethal killer with a fast gun to do the job. While we get a very quick shot of Joel aiming a rifle, right after that we get the shot of Tess fleeing from armed soldiers who I think are pretty likely to be Fedra. We could be seeing this backstory from Tess in this series and maybe even see how Joel and her met and they become smugglers as we find them in the beginning of The Last of Us. Next up, we see Joel carrying Sarah, with who I am assuming is Gabriel Luna playing Tommy in The Last of Us, looking back at them. Although he looks a little different to me in the shot, to be honest. It could very well not be him, but if it is him, I believe this is where Tommy tells Joel to keep taking Sarah to safety as he fends off the infected on Outbreak Day.
Get to the highway! What? Go! You got Sarah! I cannot run him!
Uncle Tommy?
I will meet you there. Hurry!
Now we get two very interesting shots here of Nick Offerman as Bill, with him aiming a rifle at Joel in a hole, right? This could be where they first meet, since Joel knew initially in the first game that Bill's town was booby-trapped, and it could be from this first meeting where he falls into this hole, which is one of Bill's traps, and that's how they meet in the first place. Now, what I love about this inclusion is that if this is where Joel and Bill first meet, this could tell us what Joel was talking about when he alludes in the first game that Bill owes him big time for something that happened before.
If I had one that works, which I sure as hell don't, what makes you think I'd just give it to you? Huh? Yeah, sure, Joel, go ahead. Take my card. Take all my food, too, while you're at it.
By the looks of it, you could lose some of that food.
Listen to me, you little shit.
No, fuck you! You handcuffed
I
him!
need you to shut up. All right?
Whatever favors you think I owe you ain't worth that much.
Actually, Bill, they are.
Could we get the backstory to what that was? And it's also pretty cool that potentially Bill has saved Joel from not only being stuck in the ground, but hanging upside down as well. Now this next shot here is where things get really interesting to me personally, okay? We see what appears to be two men eating a meal together holding hands, right? And my theory here is that this is Bill and Frank during the 20-year period. I'd love to see this scene and see what it was like for both Bill and Frank in Bill's town, and how eventually Frank can't take it anymore and he leaves, as he does in the original game, in a very, you know, just really just telling Bill to screw off at that point. You know what I'm saying? It was a very, very volatile exit that ultimately led to Frank's demise. I'm very curious to see how it was like for Frank to live with Bill at Bill's town and why he left so angrily. Next, we see Joel here completely beating the shit out of a Fedra agent and and Ellie crawling through what I think is the museum section, given the wooden sculpting and carving in the background, but I could be very wrong on that, but it just seems like that's probably what's happening here in this scene with Ellie. Next up, we see a cast member I wasn't aware of, which is Melanie Lynskey, who will be playing a character named Kathleen. Not too much to go off here, but she seems to be one of the fireflies in this shot, and that's probably where we're going with that, but really there's not a lot I could find here in this particular shot about Kathleen. Next, we get a nice clear shot of the bulldozer that we saw earlier that says run on it. Now, you know, it could be that same vehicle that was exiting that garage, or it could be a different one, but I think it might be this one because of the lights and all that, like I said before. But this whole thing is a callback to the Humvee that chases Joel and Ellie in the original game that also had the word run on it. Now, if you guys were in that live stream I did on Monday when this trailer dropped, I was freaking out about this shot in the trailer, okay? So yes, it's Tommy, Sarah, and Joel driving during Outbreak Day, nothing really that crazy there, but if you didn't catch it, which is very hard to miss this, the massive explosion in the background that Sarah watches is actually a plane crashing down. That is insane. That is really cool. Now it just makes you, you know, just think about how many planes were in the sky during Outbreak Day, how many of them fell due to infected being on the plane. Incredible scene. After this, we see Joel heading towards a fence with people on fire on the other side of that same fence. Not sure what the context is here as to why these people are on fire. I know it's Outbreak Day and like panic was just happening, right? So maybe that could be the case, and maybe, you know, they just crashed that car in the background and they're on fire. That could definitely be a thing, right? But this just definitely called back to when Sarah pointing out to Joel that people are on fire as they are running through the city in Outbreak Day.
Keep looking at me, baby. Don't look, Sarah.
Right after this, we see 3 people riding horses that I guess could be one of 2 different groups of people. One, they could be the people of Tommy's Dam who had horses, and this is how Joel and Ellie end up getting Callus in the original game that we see in the end of the trailer potentially, right? Or they could be a part of David's group given the winter setting, and I assume they had horses, who knows, but they're probably from Tommy's Dam. They're probably from, you know, Tommy's group, which I did realize, by the way, if you are, you know, new here, just watch the trailer and you don't know about the game, Tommy is Joel's brother, but you probably know that, but you know, just in case. Now this will tie up the Humvee section of this entire trailer here, where we get our first look at Henry and Sam with Ellie being chased by the same run bulldozer, which calls back to the very scene where they get chased by the same Humvee that also says run as well in the original game. Now this shot here, I have a pretty wild theory, but I think this could be Ashley Johnson, who has been casted in this series, but we have not seen or heard of what she could be playing. However, my theory is that she will be playing Ellie's mom, Anna, that is known to have been friends with Marlene. That's my guess here, but there's also these 2 men sitting next to her that are wearing matching jackets. So like, is she being held against her will and someone's breaking her out? What's going on here? You know, I guess we'll have to find out. Next, we have a recurring shot of Joel holding Sarah during Outbreak Day, following another shot of Tess watching a bunch of people start to run past her. It looks like she's in the Capitol building where she will eventually die in the original game, but who knows where this building is or what it even is, right? But my bet is that this is another flashback scene showing Tess's backstory. Maybe we could be seeing her version of her Outbreak Day that she experienced. Maybe like she's at work for all we know, and like maybe like she has like a regular, like, you know, schmegular job, and she sees the outbreak happen right before her eyes. That could be really cool to see in this HBO series. We have a quick shot of a character dropping a lighter that I honestly got nothing for you there. It's someone dropping a lighter, who knows, right? But then we get a new shot of Joel and Ellie crashing a car into some water, which will be very interesting since Ellie can't swim in the game, and I assume they'll keep that trait for her in the show. So there's probably going to be a wooden pallet somewhere, hopefully, for Joel to help Ellie, you know what I'm saying, go across the water. But this next shot here could very well be the scene where Joel reaches Ellie after she kills David. This scene has to be incredibly powerful, and it looks to be incredibly powerful if this is the scene where Joel consoles Ellie after killing David, right? I am a little bummed that it's not seemingly set in the original setting where the wooden restaurant is burning and everything, and just that overall shot just looks incredible on Last of Us Part 1, but you can see the emotion on Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal. It's going to be a great scene nonetheless, but I do wish that it was still in that restaurant burning, or this might not even be that scene at all. Last few scenes here are that we get an excellent look at a clicker that is really showing where the $10 million in the episode budget is going towards. That clicker looks very convincing. And lastly here we see another one of my favorite shots that I believe to be where Ellie is looking at the Capitol building and Joel says, quote,
So is that everything you hoped for?
Jury's still out. But man, can't deny that view.
Come on, this way. Hey, let's pick it up. Look, we're almost done. Stay focused.
Yes, ma'am.
One last thing I forgot to note in the breakdown is that the song that's playing throughout the trailer, which obviously I can't play because of YouTube copyright reasons, is Alone and Forsaken by the singer Hank Williams. And Hank Williams is very famous for this song, but not only that, because in The Last of Us, Hank Williams is responsible for the tape that Ellie gives to Joel to play in the truck. And the song I'll Never Get Out of This World by Hank Williams is playing during the ambush shootout in the original game.
She promised to honor, to love and obey.
And we end the trailer here with Joel and Ellie riding the horse that could be named Callus. And this show is looking really great, guys. Down below, was there something that I missed that you saw in the trailer? Was there a theory that you want to unpack a little bit more? Will we see Bill's backstory? Will we see Tess's backstory? Was that Ashley Johnson in the chair on the explosion? Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. And also, while you were down there, make sure you check out that description. You can find links to our Discord, our Twitter, and of course our Anchor link that where you listen to our long form content in podcast format. Road to Ragnarok is coming very, very soon, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very soon on Road to Ragnarok. And like the video if you enjoyed it, as well as hit subscribe to the PlayStation Source to keep up with the latest and greatest in PlayStation. Thank you all for watching, and as always, greatness awaits.